Packing shoes is one of the most annoying things when you travel as a minimalist. They just take up so much space. And that's why most people end up wearing their bulkiest shoes while traveling. While this might save space, it gets annoying fast if you have a long travel day ahead of you and it's a really hot day. And I know this from experience. For example, I brought hiking shoes on a trip to New Zealand, but then I also spent some time in Australia. And every time I had to travel to a new destination, I had to wear my bulky hiking shoes because they wouldn't fit in my backpack. It got annoying fast, trust me. I've learned a lot since then, and that's what I want to talk about in this video. I'll talk about general tips for shoes when traveling light, and I'll talk about the best shoes for minimalist travel. Before we get into it, I do want to address that I know I have an unfair advantage. My feet are quite small. I have European shoe size 37, that's like US 6.5. So I know my shoes are quite small and it's easier to fit my shoes in a bag, but I've been traveling with my boyfriend a lot and he has shoe size 43 and his backpack is usually at least the same size or sometimes even smaller than mine. So you can easily apply the tips from this video no matter your shoe size. Before we have a look at what kind of shoes I wear, one really important thing to consider when packing as a minimalist is to bring less shoes. I know, super obvious, but for real, you don't need a different pair of shoes for every outfit. So I usually wear one pair of sneakers, for example those ones, like one pair of sneakers I'll wear while traveling, and I'll bring one additional pair, which is usually a pair of flip-flops or some sandals, one or the other. I would never bring both because they're too similar. And with one pair of sneakers and one pair of flip-flops, I'm really covered for most trips in the warmer climate. They go well with pants, skirts, or even dresses. You really don't need like a special pair of sandals for your dress. You can just as easily wear your sneakers or your flip-flops. The only time I bring more than those two pairs of shoes is when I know I have a specific event going on and I need special shoes for that. For example, if I know I will go hiking, I will bring special shoes for hiking. Sometimes I even bring less shoes. For example, if I do a winter trip, I will only wear boots while traveling and I won't bring a second pair. I really like Chelsea boots, like for fall and winter trips, and I'll wear them all the time. In fall or spring, for example, I might bring my pair of Chelsea boots and a pair of sneakers. And depending on the weather, I can wear one or the other. But always just try to stick to 2 pairs of shoes max. This mindset shift of only bringing 2 pairs of shoes already helped a lot. Another thing that really helped me was switching to Barefoot shoes. Barefoot shoes are known for their wider toe box, so you have more space for your toes, and their 0 toe to heel drop ratio. There's no higher heel at all. It's like a straight line from your toes to your heel. So it's very straight, they have a wide toe box, and they're super flexible. Personally, I switched to barefoot shoes because I wanted a wider toe box, because my feet in general are a bit wider and a lot of times normal shoes felt a bit tight, like around my toes. So I thought I'll give barefoot shoes a try, and only afterwards that I realized how amazing they are for travel. But before we go into the specific advantages for traveling with barefoot shoes, I do want to mention that when you switch to barefoot shoes, you need different muscles in your legs, and this means that at the beginning when you switch, your legs might ache a bit after walking a long time in barefoot shoes. That's why I really recommend, if you do switch to barefoot shoes, test them out beforehand and to kind of walk them in and get used to them before you go on a trip. So you're used to them while traveling. My legs don't ache at all anymore when I wear them. At the moment, I really can't see myself going back to normal shoes, because now every time I wear my old shoes, like those super dirty ones, I'm using them for gardening now, but every time I'm wearing them now, it feels crazy how tight it is around my toes, and my foot feels completely cramped in, and they're really uncomfortable now. But before switching, they were like my most comfortable pairs of shoes. If you compare the toe box, you can easily see that the barefoot shoes leave way more room for my toes. Now, let's talk why barefoot shoes are great for traveling. The main reason people say barefoot shoes are great for traveling is that they are supposed to take less space. And this is true to some extent. So for example, a barefoot shoe, they don't take up much space. They're very straight, very thin, but it depends what you compare it to. For example, the shoe I wore before also doesn't take much space. If I compare those two, there's really not that much difference in space when you pack them. But for example, my previous hiking shoes are massive. They're like really big shoes. They, of course, take a lot of space. They're really bulky shoes. And now my hiking shoes don't take much space either. So if I can compare those two shoes, of course, my new minimalist hiking shoes take up less space. So barefoot shoes might save you space, depending on the shoes you usually bring. In addition to saving space, barefoot shoes are usually really lightweight, and so they add less space to your luggage when you pack them, which if you travel with only carry-on luggage is really important to keep the weight in check. And they're also very flexible. So it's more flexible to pack in your backpack, and you can really fill up empty spaces in your backpack with your shoes. And now I want to go through what kind of shoes I have, what brands they're from, and what I like about them and what I don't, and why I even got them in the first place. I do have affiliate links and for some even discount codes in the description below. But yeah, now let's talk about the shoes I have. I started with this pair. They're from Feelgrounds, and what I love about Feelgrounds is that all their shoes are vegan. I hope it doesn't change, but you never know. And I also really love that they don't look as much like barefoot shoes as some other ones do, because as much as I like barefoot shoes, I don't want everyone to immediately see that I'm wearing barefoot shoes. And with some of them, you immediately see that. But here I think they look almost like normal shoes, just like a bit of a wider toe box. I think they're really, really comfortable to wear. I think it's a perfect size and the perfect width for my feet. They fit perfectly. I really like them. But there are two things I don't like that much with them. For one, I noticed when I wear them in summer, when it's really hot, my feet get really hot. When you touch the material, it feels a bit soft, so it's almost a bit padded. And this makes my feet get really warm in summer. That's why they were not my favorite in summer, but I really liked wearing them in spring and fall on not rainy days because they're not waterproof. Feelgrounds is also the brand of my Chelsea boots, which I really love. I did get the Chelsea boots for free actually, but I actually really love them. A lot of people wear the same pair of barefoot shoes all year long, which of course would be super minimalist, but to be honest, that's not me. I have multiple pairs of barefoot shoes and I couldn't imagine wearing one of them like all year round. For example, I could not wear like normal sneaker style barefoot shoes in winter. My feet would get way too cold, so I have Chelsea boots in winter. They're still barefoot, but their sole is a little bit thicker and they're water resistant and they're a bit warmer. And even though the shoes are already a bit warmer anyway, I'm still wearing special kind of socks made out of a wetsuit material to keep my toes even warmer, because I get cold a lot. So yeah, I have a special pair of shoes for winter, but they also have different kinds of shoes for different occasions. But because my feet were too warm in summer, I decided to get a special kind of barefoot shoe for summer. So I got Wildlings. They are super, super thin, so even way thinner than the Feelgrounds one. They're like really, really thin. And what's special about them, they are made out of paper. Yes, apparently you can make shoes out of paper. I didn't know that before. They're really breathable and they're actually my favorite pair for summer now. The downside is that you cannot wash them because of the paper material. And as soon as the temperatures drop, I think they will be too cold for me. So I only bought them this summer, but I've been wearing them like every day since I bought them. So perfect for summer and really perfect for traveling because they take up even less space than other barefoot shoes. Obviously, I know you're not gonna roll your shoes that often, but just like to test it out. The Wildling ones are super, super small. Oopsie. Both of those shoes are for exploring a city, walking around, but then I wanted to do more exercise. I started to run and I also wanted a pair for like hiking, so I got Xero shoes. Those shoes, while they are still barefoot shoes, the sole is a little bit thicker, which makes it better for exercising on concrete. So I can't imagine going for a run with my Feelground shoes or my Wildling shoes, but the Xero shoes are perfect for that. My foot also feels more supported in this shoe and there's a better grip, which means that I can also use them for hiking. Just the other day I used them on a hiking trip and I felt really secure with those shoes. Obviously for a really big hiking trip, I recommend shoes that go over your ankle for like safety, but for like a small hike, those are great shoes, which takes up less space than like a big hiking shoe. The toe box is a little bit narrower than the ones from Feelgrounds. So in general, because of the thicker sole and the more protectiveness here, it might be a great option for a first barefoot shoe. But as you can see, it's not quite as flexible as the other ones. I want to talk about one more barefoot shoe company, Vivobarefoot. I've actually had shoes of them years ago. I wasn't that impressed because they broke after I was wearing them for about half a year. Exactly where like the toe bend is. Like where my toe bend when I walk, the Vivobarefoot shoe ones broke there, and I was really disappointed because they're not cheap shoes, they're like quite expensive shoes. For that amount of money, I expected them to last a longer time. That's the reason why I didn't stick with barefoot shoes like when I first tried them years ago, because I just wasn't that happy with my Vivobarefoot shoes. I don't know if that's only my experience. Let me know in the comments if you have Vivobarefoot shoes and they didn't break, or if they broke as well. I don't know. But yeah, I hope this video helped you a little bit to decide if barefoot shoes are right for you. And if you have any further questions, please let me know. Or if you have a different barefoot shoe brand that you really love, let me know in the comments and I might check them out in the future. And in case you do buy any of the shoes, don't forget my affiliate links in the description. But for now, thanks for watching. Bye!